Thanks for joining another episode of the 5-Minute Modeler. The 5-Minute Modeler aims to provide you helpful information to help you improve your model railroading skills with segments of around 5 minutes long. If you haven't already, I'd love for you to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon to be alerted to new episodes. In today's episode, we're going to show you how to tackle painting awesome clouds on your backdrop. These clouds help provide distance and a logical background for your model railroad. It also provides just enough detail to blend itself with your modeling in the foreground. With model railroading, in most cases, the trains are the star of the show and the scenery sets the mood, so we don't want too much detail. So why would you want to paint your own sky and clouds when there are so many excellent background products on the market? Manufactured backdrops can be great and offer a lot of variety and detail, but they also have some issues. For example, they typically have patterns that repeat, like wallpaper. You need to line these up, and that can be hard, especially at the ends. And it is often difficult to match sky colors, especially with different manufacturers' backdrops. I use a combination of backdrops and images from Google Maps, but on the backdrops that I purchase, I cut out the sky. This makes it easier to mount the backdrop, as well as eliminates the need to match the sky color, as well as some of the ends to the backdrop. My layout is an around-the-walls type layout with two peninsulas. I use tempered masonite as my backdrop material. Others have used sheet styrene, linoleum, and other materials. I happen to like masonite because it becomes pretty sturdy once I secure it to my layout. Before we get to painting clouds, we need to prep the backdrop first. Because masonite is fairly porous, I begin by priming the masonite with the gray primer. I don't recall why I chose gray rather than white, but for whatever reason it seems to work well. Once the primer had dried, I then painted the backdrop with the light blue that I picked up at the depot. It says Wild Blue yonder and was mixed with the Glidden base. I bought a quart of the primer and a quart of paint, and after painting 60 feet of a 2-foot high backdrop, I still have paint. I used a roller to paint both the primer and the paint, as this made the process go pretty quickly and eliminated virtually any drips. While I didn't do this next step, I would suggest painting about 4 inches of the bottom with white paint using a brush and blending it into the blue. I didn't have any white paint at the time, and I was pretty impatient to get trains running, so instead I settled for the blue on the entire backdrop. The shade of blue isn't critically important, but you may want to take samples to see what it looks like in your layout room and with your layout, your lighting, and your cameras. There is no perfect sky color, as so many factors continually cause the color of the sky to change. Before you start painting clouds, go outside to an open area and look at the sky. While there are a few days of clear blue sky where I live, on most days there are usually clouds in the sky. You could leave your backdrop solid blue, as I did for the first several years of my layout. However, by painting clouds on your backdrop, you can enhance the appearance of distance to the layout. Today I'm going to show you how to make clouds with just one color. I use acrylic white paint to do this. I also use a couple of brushes, a number 10 round brush, a small 1/4 inch flat brush, and a 1.5 inch craft store paintbrush that I occasionally use to blend the white. I start by making a line about 12 inches to 18 inches long and continue to brush it out, spreading the paint closer to the horizon as well as slightly above the line. The idea is to create that hazy look near the horizon. And I do allow some of the blue to show through, as this helps add to the depth. I do this for the entire length of the backdrop I'm painting. Once the low clouds are painted in, I'll start with the cumulus clouds using the round brush. I'll dip the brush in the paint and then begin to apply it in jabbing motions along with what will be the top of the clouds. As the brush loses its paint, I'll begin to move downward in the cloud, still jabbing. With this style of painting, the lighter amounts of paint allow some of the blue to show through. The twisting of the brush helps create the rounded edges of the clouds. I'll sometimes use the 1.5 inch brush to blend some of the paint on the lower end of the clouds, or use it to brush up much like dry brushing, into the brighter white of the clouds. Clouds near the horizon tend to be puffier in the middle and trail off in height near the edges. Additionally, the whiter the paint, the more it will represent the sun reflecting off the clouds. If you're modeling a morning or afternoon scene, the sun will be hitting the clouds from one side. Add more white paint to that side, leaving some of the less colored areas still visible. This will help to add depth to your clouds. Once you are happy with your current cloud, move on to the next one. Once you've painted all your clouds, clean your brushes, etc., and let it dry overnight. The next day, take a look at it and see if you're pleased. You'll likely see some shapes that you didn't see the previous day and don't like. No worries. You can pull out the white paint and begin to touch up using the same method as before. You can easily add highlights, smooth out any sharp or rough edges, or otherwise make it more pleasing to your eye. I'm not an artist, and I'm happy with these simple clouds. If you want to get real creative, you can consider painting evening skies with more red and yellow colors, or use more grays to create more ominous, stormy areas. If you're nervous about doing this, try practicing your technique on a scrap piece of masonite or cardboard. In the end, I think you'll agree that painting these clouds on the backdrop really provides a lot of distance to your layout in front without distracting the viewer's eyes from the primary focus, your trains. Well, thanks for watching this 5-minute Modeler episode. Please hit the thumbs up button, and if you're already, subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss another episode.